Bollywood to Hollywood with Rao Rampilla. This may look strange to you. Never in a show, an interviewer or a host becomes an interviewee. So I'm going to become an interviewee, and Arthur French is going to interview me because he was my teacher.
Well, here I go. From Bollywood to Harlem to Hollywood, back again. I was talking with you before the show started, and as I was talking to Rao, as I call him, he started telling me about himself, and I thought he was so fascinating. I said, well, I would like to know more about you. So whereabouts were you born, Rao?
Well, I was born in Deep South, which is deep south of India, Andhra Pradesh, by the Krishna River. It's close to Madras.
Good. Well, how did you become interested in theater? Did you do it as a boy, as a child?
It's funny you ask me, because when we were children, we celebrate this festival in India, Dasra, and people paint themselves like monkeys and lions and all that. They come dancing in the streets, go house to house, and I wanted to do that. And my father refused to let me do that. So when I was in college, almost finishing the college, secretly we went to learn some music. We want to play guitar. So we went to a school there, music school, and the teacher only taught us classical Indian music. At the end of the year, we did a play. So it's called watering it. So it's a poet. I played the role of a poet, watering the plant.
That's beautiful. Well, what did you do? Since you did you act after that, or?
No, I was. Well, before that, I used to write poetry. And it was on All India Radio. Then I used to run a newspaper, so I used to sit down before the kerosene lamp in the midnight. We didn't have electricity at that time, and I used to write the poem. And one time, my stepmother, she was grinding the rice in a grinder. So I thought people are being all this rice. Was like people, and I felt like they were being grinded. So I wrote a poem about it, and I published it. Next day, somebody threw a knife from the other side to kill me. So to say that it is effective.
Yes. Do you remember a short poem that you had written that you could...
Yeah, one time we used to have a poet by name Sristi. He was a radical poet. I used to copy his style. So I wrote a poem. I heard his poem about love in a movie, and it moved me so much. So I went and wrote another poem. It was Manisiloni Manasuni, Manasuloni Mamatani, Anuvanuvu Kadilinchi, Manasulanu Palikinchi, Rasamaduri Munchetti, Badalanni Marapinchi, Sangani Murikininchi, Gantanto Pekilinchi, Kalalukanna Prapanchani Swadda Parula Chatanundi, Velikitisi Etti Chupi Rachabata Naripede, Navayugapu Navakavita, Bhavitavyapu Bhavakavita. What it means is a poem is the poem that pulls people out of the gutter and cleans them with their heart's blood and lifts them up high and shows the new path to the world is the new poetry and progressive poetry, and that is the real poem. So I define the poem through a poem.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
And it also has a point of view to it.
Yes.
Well, after college, what did you do after college?
Well, I went to 3 law schools.
3?
I think 4 law schools.
Oh my!
So I got 3 law degrees. I missed one. I went to National University where I was involved with the untouchables. I was on hunger strike for 14 days, so I became popular in the country. And the flip side is I eventually they kicked me out of the school, so I left the country. I came to America.
You weren't popular with everybody, obviously.
Well, not with everyone. I have a lot of antagonists.
Yeah. But that's good. That's good that you took a stand up for something you believed in.
Yeah, I had some friends who politicized me, but there was something inside me. These are people I used to play marbles when I was a kid, and being discriminated uh, um, between those people who played marbles with me and me would be bad. You don't want to separate them. It's like the blacks and the whites.
Right. But let me ask you that. I was just going to ask you that because here it's clear who somebody's black or somebody's white. But what's the difference there? Is it a color difference or
No,
religious difference? Or?
Not very much. We all came from the same religion.
So what would be the difference?
Well, it was
racism
way
there?
back in 500 BC, and Manu and others created this system of caste, and so few people put themselves up as higher, and the rest of them lower. So these people who are now 300 million people are subjugated, and you can't change it. Here, you can, if you have money, you can change your class, but in India, even if you have money, you can't change it. Once you are born into that caste, you die into that caste.
Yes, that's it.
That's why India couldn't become a superpower. That's why there was no revolution in India, unlike neighboring China or Russia.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you. Well, now that you're in America, you've left India. What do you do here? How did you connect here?
Well, I came to school and I studied with the Secretary of State Dean Rusk. He was my professor. So I wanted to be an international lawyer. So my dream was, I took a challenge when I was in college. One of my relatives from whom my father borrowed some money, one time she asked me in the street, so you're going to become a Sunday lawyer? He heard I'm going to the law school. So I said, no, I want to become an international lawyer. And I told him I'll be on the 34th floor of the United Nations.
And were you?
And yeah, it took me 20 years, so I eventually were at the 34th floor of the United Nations. So I fulfilled my challenge.
It's wonderful that you seem to have achieved goals that you've set for yourself, even over a long period of time, 20 years. So I'd like to ask you, what are your goals now?
Well, it's funny. As a child, I learned, because I lost my mother. So I was introduced to the library. And there, I used to read all the life histories of the people, including Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, everyone. I realized in my early ages, there is nothing impossible. And all I have to do is I have to believe strongly. If I believe in something strongly, it will happen. And it happened with this international lawyer thing. And then it's to answer your question straight, after 9/11, accidentally, I was put into a Super Bowl commercial with Kevin Bacon. And I didn't know what is a Super Bowl commercial, what is a audition, it just happened accidentally, and I was broke. And I realized all my life I was going against the stream. For the first time, something fell into my lap, and I thought, well, I take, like the Americans say, I take the ball and run and see where it takes me. And then more I'm running with it, with the acting, and I'm finding more things. Some are painful, some are not so lucrative, but I started writing my play.
Yes, sir.
The issue that was because they wouldn't put me in major movies because of my accent. So I said, okay, now I have to take charge. So I have to produce things. So in order to produce, I need to write. So and what do I want to write? I thought, what is the biggest issue, or the most important issue I think it is. So in my life, about this struggle I went through. So I thought that's what I want to write, so I wrote about it. That's the play I
Yes.
brought it to the class.
And wrote very well about it. Very
thank
moving.
you. And now it is going to be read in a Medicine So Theater on 52nd Street.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So in that writing class I learned, well, the teacher says there are 84 keys in piano. So if I have 84 keys in my life, if I'm playing only one key of lawyer, so I'm not fully utilizing or enjoying my life or playing all my piano.
Okay.
So I'm playing the second key now, the acting, a third key writing, and a fourth key producing. And I also found I could do things which I couldn't do as a lawyer, as a civil servant.
Such as?
Well, you can involve in certain advocate politically if you are working for international civil service at the United Nations. So now I can bring some of these issues, put it on the stage or put it on the screen and show it to the people. So I have the other side now coming back.
But it's still part of what you did as a young person,
Yes.
in your poetry and everything else. I just have one thing to say. There are 88 keys on most of them.
I'm sorry. I guess that's what makes the difference between the teacher and the student, right?
I just want you to play all the keys as you've been doing. What would you like to, as an actor now? And you've been studying speech and you've been reading lots of plays, you told me. What is there a special part, role, or there's a special playwright that speaks to you?
You know, it's funny you asked me that question. I mean, everyone wants to be on either Bollywood or Hollywood, but sometimes Hollywood doesn't inspire me as much as it should, because I still would like to work there. When I was in Ashton Pendleton's class, for the first time when he gave me a play to do a scene from Arthur Miller's View from the Bridge.
View from the Bridge.
Yeah, I was playing the lawyer, Alfieri.
Alfieri.
And I started reading the scene. When that scene came, for the first time in my life, this other character suddenly rose up from the book and started talking to me. That was a very strange feeling. And I remember I had a conversation with my brother who died with AIDS. But he was refusing to marry my niece, his daughter, outside the caste. And he calling me and giving me all kinds of excuses and fight and all that. And I was trying to chastise him and trying to make some sense to him because I don't believe in the caste. And then that other character, Alfieri, was listening and advising, sounded like it's my brother, rising up and talking to me. And I took the scene into the class. I cried. Ashton said, "This is the best thing I have seen from you that day."
Maybe you should be teaching a class now.
I don't know. I think I have a lot more to learn.
Well, we all do. It's a never-ending process. But what you did of using part of your personal experience to bring it to the character is kind of what we try to teach people to do. So obviously you have a feel for it and an understanding of what it takes to really do something well, to use yourself in that way.
It was spontaneous. I mean, when one time I worked with Alan Arkin's workshop, not to boast myself, but he gave all these exercises. We have to bring in something on Saturday. So I picked up a scene like Clinton, President Clinton, inviting Monica Lewinsky for Hillary's birthday. And there is Jesse Jackson and all the other people who are there. and we did the scene. Uh, After the scene, he thought this is not going to work, but after we did it, it worked because I believed in it.
Now, what part did you play?
I played Clinton.
What else?
But he told me, Rao, you took a big leap. So I didn't know what it meant, but afterwards I realized when I started this show, and also I started doing some thing like that with the Untouchable group in this town for their birthdays. I used to do some, like bring the creator of the caste system and put him like Obama, mediating between Gandhi and the leader of the Untouchables, and they were fighting with each other. And I transported Obama to the 1930s, and we did the scene. It was fun. Everyone laughed. So now then I understood. Oh, okay, this is what he meant.
And there's a connection there between the situation, actually, in both
It was
decades.
fun. So I started doing this kind of stuff, and I think it comes out much interesting. I don't give script to the actors. I just tell them this is the
Tell them
situation,
who you are.
and then sometimes it works naturally.
Well, good. Well, listen, I'm going to say it's been great talking to you. I don't know. What I think I would like to do is to turn this back over to you, because you're the expert at this, and tell you what a delightful interviewee you are. Interviewee, yes, I'm the interviewer now.
Well, it's a matter of semantics, but I think you interviewed me better than I did.
But thank you for talking to me and talking to all of us, and to giving us an insight into you and why you're here, and your dedications and your beliefs and your strong beliefs, and the fact that you have succeeded at things that you've aspired to do. You've done things and you've put yourself on the line. And I think that's even in the theater or in acting, you have to put yourself on the line as well. So you've done it, and thank you for allowing me to interview you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Now taking back my child.
Yeah, I'll go back. I quit. No.
But it seems you have a more interesting life growing up in Harlem. I didn't really touch that aspect until you mentioned about it in the last show. Were you brought up in Harlem as a child? Or?
Yes, I was born in Harlem. And we lived in Harlem until, I guess I was in public school. I went to kindergarten and all of that in Harlem. Then we moved upscale to the Bronx.
Oh, I see.
And then finally we ended up in Queens. But the theater has always been around, even though I didn't consciously do it. I was in all the plays in Sunday school, in my church. We would do plays for Easter and Christmas. I always played the older characters. I always played the fathers for some reason.
But did your parents encourage you or discourage you?
Yes, they did.
Oh.
My parents were wonderful.
Maybe I should have you. Your parents.
They always told me, and I guess I kind of believed it, that I didn't know what I wanted to do. I really didn't have a direction, but they always hit me over the head almost to tell me that I could do anything I wanted to do, regardless of whatever, the situation and the politics and the racism. So if you want to do something, you're capable of doing it. So they pounded it in my head. So I believed it. I don't know if they were kidding or not. So when I went to school, I went to high school, I went to Brooklyn College, but I kind of felt lost. I kind of was lost. Then I started working for the city, which I liked a lot because I had a job, but I still didn't. There was just something else. And then finally, when I found the theater, or it found me more or less, I kind of found something. I knew I would do it the rest of my life, even though I didn't think that it would be what I did. It wouldn't be what I would become. But I'm very happy. I enjoy it. I guess teaching, the best thing about teaching is to see your students, to go and see your students on the stage, or to turn on the television and say, oh, I know that person, I remember that young person. Or even I ended up once, my big thrill was I did a voiceover commercial. It wasn't a big thing, but it was with one of my students. We both did it together professionally, and I just was thrilled by it. So I guess the best thing I can do is just to see someone that you've helped. I think they would have been doing what they did without my help. But it's just good, and I guess that's the fulfillment of teaching at all, is to see people do great things.
Suppose if I give you another 100 years. I would like to give you more.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
What would you do?
Oh, I guess I would do what I'm doing now. I think I'll probably do that until I just can't do it. Because it's great to hear someone say, well, you helped them, whether you did or not.
What is it that drives you towards this acting?
Yeah, I think as a child, we always go back, you did too, to our childhood. My father worked in a printing place where they printed comic books. And it always intrigued me. I was the comic book king, would bring home the comic, of being another person, like Superman really was Clark Kent, and Bruce Wayne is really Batman. And I always felt that there were these other people that I could be. I was Arthur, but I could be, and you can do things, you can be mean, and you can be spiteful, you can be evil when you're acting, and then you can. Once the curtain comes down, a teacher of mine told me that once the curtain comes down, all bets are off. So I always felt I would be these other characters, not Superman, but someone other than myself, that I could have an experience that I would not ordinarily have. I could have a good experience or a bad experience. You can, if you're acting, you can kill someone. And even though you don't do that in life, we've all kind of felt like it sometime. So I think it allows me to be these other people, this secret identity, that it's me, but then it's not me, it's someone else.
Would you like to be a playwright?
Both of my children write.
Oh.
I don't write anything.
Well, they do it for you.
They do it for me. I enjoy them, and they're doing well at what they do, so I leave that to them.
You have a big family?
I have 2 children. I have a son who, I'll just brag quickly, who got one of his plays published by Samuel French 2 years ago. And my daughter writes for television.
What's the play?
He wrote a play called, and he's going to kill me if I can't think of the title of it. It'll come to me.
Okay.
But
what's your daughter writes for?
She writes, right now she's writing for a show called Are We There Yet?
Oh, okay.
And that's on now, and she's writing for that. Circuit Breakers is the name of his prize-winning play.
Oh, okay.
And so they do that, and I enjoy them doing that. I looked at my daughter's show that she wrote, was on last night on television. So she lives in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah, all those
But he lives here. So, no, I'm a widower. So, but they're both doing well. And,
do you live in Harlem? Or?
No, I live in Queens.
Oh, okay.
I still live in Queens, and but I'm here. I'm in the city all the time. I mean,
yeah, I see you around.
Yeah,
most
I'm
of the
always
time.
in the city. So it was a place that my mother and parents had moved out there, and so I'm still there. I'll probably be there forever. And
well, suppose if Bollywood producer asks you,
I'm off to Bollywood. I'll be on the train, plane, bus, or whatever. Well, when you speak of Bollywood, is it really just trying to do what Hollywood does?
Well, Bollywood means actually, we have 26 odd states, 28 states. Each state has a separate language. And in Maharashtra, Bombay is the Hindi. So every state has their own movies. So, and predominantly Hindi is the major language. It's a second language. So, so it became kind of synonymous with Hollywood. So they changed the name to, like, imitating the name Hollywood. They
Right.
made it Bombay. It's Bollywood.
Ah, okay.
And it's in my mother tongue, Telugu. Now the movies that come from our state, they call it now Tollywood. So everyone having a wood.
Wood in it.
So
good.
scene will have a Manhattan wood, and
Wood.
Queenswood.
Well, that's good. I mean, as long. Do you have lots of actors there? Are actors treated there as they are here? You know, are they stars and?
Well, there are stars, but it's more like a family affairs. It's a little more closely confined rather than open like here. It's a little more diverse. It's much easier for me to get an opportunity here than in the Bollywood.
Really?
Yeah, people would think otherwise, but it is a very closed family affair. It's much harder to break in.
Is that right? Well, there's a man, and I think I'm going to mispronounce the name, but I think his last name is Morgandini. It's something like, but he's come here and he said that to me.
Yeah, most of these
Yeah.
people that has never able to break into Bollywood come here now. They're saying, "Oh, I'm from Bollywood." They're not from Bollywood. If they're from Bollywood, they wouldn't be here. Well, they would come in a different level, but not like these
But
people.
we're getting more pictures.
I think it's because of the Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
See, what happened is it like waves. We had a first wave in 50s and early 60s when this British director found this Indian kid in Rajasthan and brought him over, and he played all these Apu characters.
Who was that?
It used to be all this Apu, Jungle Boy.
Oh,
all-
Sabu. They call it
Sabu.
Sabu. Yeah.
And then we have another wave now, the Slumdog Millionaire. So now everyone from England, all the kids are coming over here. So it seems like it's the British that opened the doors for the Hollywood for Indians. Well, you have watched an interesting episode. So until next time, we take leave. Thank you, and come back and see us on the next episode.
I watch you.